The afternoon sun bled into the horizon, spilling fire across the wide, endless plains of the west. The land was quiet except for the distant hum of cicadas and the rhythmic beat of hooves against hard earth. A lone rider made his way through the valley, hat tipped low, shadow stretching long behind him. He was a man marked by the road, his coat worn, his face carved by dust and time, eyes that had seen too much yet never stopped searching for something he couldn't name. His name wasn't known to many, but those who'd crossed his path called him the medic cowboy, a drifter who'd once served as a field doctor in the war and now roamed the frontier, with no home, no family, and a promise that kept him breathing. Never let another soul die if he could help it. The promise came back to him that evening, when a sudden explosion of splintering wood echoed through the canyon. The sound of terrified horses and cracking wheels made his blood turn cold. Without thinking, he spurred his horse toward it, dirt rising in a golden storm behind him. As he crested a ridge, his heart stopped. The stagecoach lay wrecked at the bottom of a rocky embankment, its wheels still spinning, one horse dead and the other struggling in the harness. Smoke rose from a broken lantern, flames licking at torn curtains. He was off his horse before it had even stopped, sliding down the slope, boots scraping stone. "Hello," he shouted, voice rough. "Anybody alive?" A faint cry answered, two voices, one weak, one terrified. He followed the sound and saw them trapped inside the splintered coach, two women. One older, one younger, pinned beneath shattered beams and tangled leather. The younger's breathing was shallow, her dress soaked with blood and dust. The older clutched her shoulder, teeth clenched in pain. The cowboy dropped to his knees, eyes scanning, mind calculating as if the battlefield had returned. "You're safe now," he said quietly, his voice calm but firm. "I'm gonna get you out." With practiced precision, he tore strips from his coat, wrapped one around the older woman's arm, and used the rest to stanch the bleeding in the younger's legs. The wood had crushed them badly. Her lips trembled. "I can't feel them," she whispered, eyes wide with terror. He met her gaze, steady and certain. "Don't you say that," he said. "You'll walk again, I swear it. I've seen worse and brought M back. You hear me? You hold on." She nodded faintly, tears spilling down her dirt-streaked face. He gritted his teeth and went to work, cutting through the twisted wreck, using his bare hands when the knife broke. Every creak of the wood made her cry out, but he didn't stop, not once. When the final beam gave way, he lifted her free, cradling her like she weighed nothing at all. His muscles screamed, but he carried her out into the fading light, laying her on a blanket near the fire he quickly built. The older woman crawled beside him, eyes full of fear and gratitude. "You're both safe," he said again, more to convince himself than them. He checked their wounds, cleaned what he could with whiskey and torn cloth, and wrapped the younger's legs with branches as splints. The desert wind howled, carrying the scent of smoke and iron. He worked until his hands shook, until every ounce of strength was gone. Yet he kept whispering, "You'll walk again. You will." When the fire burned low, he sat beside them, staring into the flames. The younger one stirred, eyes fluttering. "Why are you helping us?" she asked weakly. He smiled faintly, the corner of his scarred mouth twitching. "Because someone once helped me," he said. "And I failed to return the favor before she died. Been trying to make it right ever since." The women didn't ask more, but the sadness in his tone said enough. Night fell hard, cold sweeping across the valley. He kept the fire alive, fed the horses, and watched over them like a guardian angel forged from dust and regret. When dawn painted the desert gold, he knew they couldn't stay. The younger's fever had risen, and the older's shoulder had swollen black. The nearest town, Dry Creek, was nearly 10 miles away. Too far for anyone but him. He built a stretcher from broken coach boards and reins, strapped it to his horse, and lifted the younger woman onto it with the care of a man handling something holy. "We move now," he said. "I'll get you both to a doctor. No matter what it takes." The sun blazed overhead as they traveled. Every mile was a test of will. The older woman rode behind him, barely holding on, while he led the horse pulling the stretcher, watching every breath of the girl behind him. Sweat burned his eyes, but he kept going, muttering prayers under his breath, whispering words of comfort she couldn't hear. When they finally reached Dry Creek at sunset, he nearly collapsed. The doctor, a friend from his soldiering days, rushed out, eyes wide. "Ethan," he gasped, "what in God's name happened?" "Stagecoach went down near Redstone Ridge," the cowboy said hoarsely. "2 survivors. Do what you can." For hours, he stood outside the clinic, pacing in the dirt. The doctor emerged near midnight, exhausted but smiling. "They'll live," he said. "The young one's legs are broken bad, but with time and care, she might walk again." The cowboy closed his eyes and let out a shaky breath. That's all I needed to hear. For days, he stayed by their side, helping where he could, fetching water, mending things around town to pay for medicine. The older woman told anyone who would listen that a stranger had saved them from certain death, that he'd carried them through hell itself. The younger one, still pale, still weak, began to speak again, her voice stronger each sunrise. "You never left," she said one morning. He smiled gently. "Told you I wouldn't. A man keeps his word." Weeks passed. The girl began her first steps on crutches, trembling but determined. Each time she stumbled, he caught her. Each time she fell, he lifted her and said, "Again." And again she tried. The town folk watched the bond grow between the broken drifter and the women he'd saved, a bond forged not by blood, but by fire, courage, and something unspoken that softened even the hardest hearts. Soon laughter replaced fear, and the cowboy found something he thought he'd lost forever: peace. But the West has a way of testing peace with fire. One afternoon, dust rose on the horizon, riders coming fast. Outlaws. The same gang that had robbed the stagecoach before it crashed. They rode into Dry Creek, guns flashing, demanding gold they swore had been hidden with the passengers. The townspeople scattered, and the women were pushed back inside the saloon. The cowboy stood in the middle of the street, revolver hanging low, shadow stretching across the dust. The outlaw leader grinned. "Ain't your fight, mister. Step aside." The cowboy's voice was cold steel. "It became my fight the moment you hurt them." The wind caught his coat. The street went silent except for the clink of spurs. Then, lightning. Gunfire split the air, echoing through the canyon. When the smoke cleared, the gang lay broken in the dust. And the cowboy stood alone, hat low, smoke curling from his revolver. He holstered it slowly, heart pounding, the promise echoing in his ears, "You'll walk again. I swear it." Later, when the town gathered around, the doctor found him outside, watching the sunset. "You could stay," the doctor said quietly. "This place could use a man like you." The cowboy smiled faintly. "Eyes still on the horizon." "Can't," he said. "There's always someone else out there who needs saving." He looked back at the clinic window, where the 2 women stood, safe, alive, grateful. "They'll walk their own road now," he whispered. He tipped his hat, mounted his horse, and rode off into the dying light. The sky burned crimson behind him, dust swirling like a memory. As he disappeared beyond the ridge, his words lingered like an oath carried on the wind: "You'll walk again, I swear it." And for the first time in a long while, he believed it himself.